Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we are continuing our recording of our program Positive Life Coach Training. We are talking about counseling, and I have given you a broad overview of all the training requirement that we can do as we can become certified life coach. So we have completed our motivational module, our coaching module, our mentoring module, and now we are in the counseling module. That will be the last level that we are going to do, and inshallah you can select 30 videos at any of this level of your so that you can then do the PowerPoint and do a practicum by giving coaching or counseling or motivation or talk, and you get your certification. Very easy, free of charge, by Khalifa Education Foundation and Islamic Psychology Center as our da'wah to the world. So I have explained to you all the details about the nature of the self and our Islamic psychology model, nature of the heart, and so on. So now I have given you the listing that we are going to, because under cognitive behavior therapy and Pi-CBT, the comparison as well as a detailed protocol and technique is all in our 120 videos, starting with video number 33. So if you go to Islamic Psychology PIP YouTube, you click video number 33, you get feelings, emotion and thought cycle, FET cycle. You click video number 34 is thought, emotion, this is the CBT, TEF cycle, alright, and so on. So I've given you the understanding that all this is from our book, principle number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Each of them is one chapter, and then we have one chapter on positive Islamic psychology model, that is video number 42. Alright, so I'm going to randomly go through the whole series of these 120 videos to guide you, so that then you can at least have some idea of the taste of what we are doing in our counseling module, because this counseling module is sometimes a bit random based, because we get bits and pieces from here and there. But inshallah, when we convert this into our Pi-CBT book, a handbook, a specific handbook, we need to do more research. As we are not ready to produce a 600-page or 800-page handbook on positive Islamic cognitive behavior therapy, but we are still gathering more positive psychology or psychology research material that I'm going to do in the subsequent video. After I complete the counseling module, we'll go into psychology research, and these are the material that inshallah I'm trying to compile with our team, so that then we can then later on present to the Muslim world positive Islamic cognitive behavior therapy handbook, Pi-CBT handbook, to help our counselor in counseling from the perspective of Islamic community and Islamic theology. Okay, so we have this positive Islamic psychology model that you can find in this book, chapter 5. Alright, and then in the model also we talk about how integrating our psychology model with Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah. This is very important. I'm going to dwell some time here. Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah is very important in the 21st century, because we have to understand within the framework of the text of the Quran or the text of the Hadith, there is also the context. So the text and context must not be in coherent. It must be coherent, it must be consistent, it must be fitting to the situation and challenges. So the challenges of the 21st century is very much different from the challenges of the 7th century or the 10th century or even the 15th century or even the 19th century. This is a century, there's so much change, so much turbulence. So the level of knowledge is going up exponentially. The level of change is also going up exponential. So if we are not able to adapt to this situation, we Muslims will be delegates, we will be left behind, and we Muslims could not face the challenges of our existential existence in the 21st and 22nd century. So in Islam, we have this whole framework within Islamic theology for us to adapt to this new situation, and this is called Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah. So the greatest scholar that is still living today on Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah is Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayyah, a great man who is still alive. He's old, about 80 plus years old, but Alhamdulillah, if you follow his understanding of the nature of the existential challenge of the Ummah in the 21st century, we have the base within the Quran and the Sunnah for us to actually move forward, adapt and move forward without compromising on the deen of Islam. That is the most beautiful thing. So Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah is a very important tool within the framework, and our alim and ulama must be able to master this Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah. But I have listed all the listing of the Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah in our book so that it can be used as a framework, so that when we have a challenge in terms of psychological challenge, in terms of facing this or that, then we will not be attacked as saying, oh, these are the Ahlul Bid'ah, these are the people who do Bid'ah and so on. No, we integrate that because there is a lot of context and text in the Al-Quran that can be synergized to bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to bring us to become the best of humanity in the 21st century. That is a beautiful thing within Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah. So if you understand Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah, you understand we are not dogmatic Islam. The deen of Islam is very broad. The fiqh of Islam is also very broad. It's so all-inclusive that we can bring every one of our brothers and sisters within the fold of this deen, as also within the fold of the life of all human beings and all creatures on this good earth. That is the whole purpose of Maqasid Ash-Shari'ah. And that is the video number 43. Then video number 44, Pi-CBT, we talk about holistic integration of the self at the SEMP level, at a higher level. I've given you some idea. Video number 45, model for Islamic psychology. This is reminiscence of what research we have done before. Video number 46 is understanding the nature of the mind and akal. So now we are breaking up what is the mind and akal. What is it? So we have it in the book here. We give you a greater detail. Then video number 47 is nature of the heart, intuition and cut from Islamic perspective. So how we derive our formula, our protocol and our model is from the Sharia. So then you can at least see that we are based within the framework of Islamic theology and tenets, and it is in line with the four schools, the four schools of Ahli Sunnah wal Jama'ah. I'm a Shafi'i. We can accept whether you are Hanafi or whatever other mazhab that you have, but doesn't matter. Alright? Even if you are not following any mazhab, it's also okay as long as you are open enough, your heart is wide enough to accept all of us as brothers and sisters in Islam in this 21st century, without discriminating, without calling this person a kafir and this person is about ahli bid'ah and so on. We don't do that. We try to be all inclusive, because shaitan in the 21st century is working overtime, and we Muslims are now fighting among ourselves, alright, over teeny-weeny bits of theological point, which is not actually important at all. So we must then work together to make sure that this deen bring us all together, united as a ummah of a Muslim and united as a family of human beings in the 21st century. Then we have how we can understand the nature and reality of consciousness in Islam. So there is a lot of research on consciousness. Where is consciousness in Islam? Where does it reside? It's a very interesting study. Alright, then we give the practical application of how to use our research on CBT and Pi-CBT, so you then can have practical application using our Pi-CBT method. And then we also do a comparison between the 10 principles of CBT and Pi-CBT. And then video number 51, principles of existence of life and consciousness beyond the physical life. That means when we die, what happened to us? This is also psychology, because the greatest existential question of modern human being is the denial of death. Everybody is saying that they're not going to die, but everybody knows they're going to die. But because it is such a frightful thing for them, they cannot handle this. Psychologically, we have a lot of old people in those without any deen, without any faith in God. They are lost. They are in deep depression. But we Muslims, until our last day, we can be smiling, be happy knowing that we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is our helper, our guide, our protector, and is giving us a life beyond death. Then how, video number 52, integration with other psychological protocols and therapies. So we are not only using Pi-CBT, but we also taking other forms of protocol, other forms of psychological therapies that is available in the world, and then we list it out, and then we can integrate. That's why we must be open-minded to accept all the research of the secular so-called secular materialist psychologists, because a lot of their material is very much based on statistics and empirical base. So we can use them, but doesn't mean that we accept them 100%. We can modify and adapt. So we don't reinvent the wheel, we try to adjust to our new reality. Then I've given you some understanding of the consciousness, nafs, self, integration of synergy and coherence. What is the nature of coherence? Alright, in terms of our existence on this earth, and how we can use coherence to excel in life. Video number 54 is self-consciousness at a higher level of integration, because in Islam there is levels of integration, levels of taqwa, levels of closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, levels of progression of the souls, which is very much detailed described by one of the greatest scholars today is Sheikh Abdul Hakam Murad from Cambridge Muslim University, as well as Sheikh Hamza Yusuf Hansen from Zaituna College. Alright, then the analogy of consciousness in the brain and what is more to the brain, this is where research in terms of brain science is showing that there is a higher level beyond the neural network, and the analogy of consciousness part 2, alright. And we, at video number 57, we talk about 3 levels of the self-coherence, synergy and integration. Yeah, that means your coherence, your synergy and integration in terms of perfecting ourselves and developing ourselves to become a true and sincere servant of Allah and His Khalifa on this earth. Video number 58 would be consciousness, Islamic perspective, and then again is on integration, because we are talking about holistic integrated psychology. Pi-CBT and Islamic psychology is holistic integrated psychology, both at the material plane and the spiritual, emotional and mental plane. Then we develop the model principles in terms of the framework for protocol, video number 66, and then we bring some of the studies, for example, of our research in terms of video number 60 on Al-Ghazali concept on intention, part 1 and part 2 and so on. So these are some of the series. I'll go through the whole 120 videos with you, inshallah, but at least now you have a glimpse of what we are doing. We are just giving you a taste in terms of the whole joy of development of Islamic psychology. We are starting. We hope a lot of you who are in this field be motivated by what we are doing and develop your own understanding, promote it as much as you can, and inshallah over the next 10, 20, 30 years we can have a coherent view of Islamic psychology that is beneficial for the Ummah and all humanity in the 21st century, knowing that we are the servant of Allah, His steward on this earth, His Khalifa on this earth. All this we strive to make ourselves good, help others to be good and make the world good, inshallah.